The Linux kernel is the main component of a Linux operating system and is the core interface between a computer's hardware and its processes. It communicates between the two, managing resources as efficiently as possible. It is technically incorrect to refer to Linux as a complete operating system. Linux actually refers specifically to the kernel, which was named after its founder Linus Torvalds. It is named the kernel because, just like a seed inside a hard shell, the kernel exists inside the operating system and controls all the major functions of the hardware, whether it's on a laptop, server or phone. It powers most of the world's smartphones and appears in all kinds of wearable devices including cameras and wearables. What does the kernel do? The kernel has 4 functions. 1. Process management. It determines which processes can use the central processing unit, CPU, at what time and for how long. The kernel tries to optimize the usage of the processor so that it can complete tasks as quickly as possible. 2. Memory management. It keeps track of how much memory is used to store what and where. It is therefore highly involved in resource management because it has to make sure that there is enough memory available for an application to run. It also places an application in the right location in memory. Failures can lead to deadlocks. A deadlock is a situation where an entire system or processes are halted because one application needs a resource that another one is using. 3. Device drivers. It acts as a mediator or interpreter between the hardware and processes in a computer. The kernel serves as the bridge between your computer hardware and the software you wish to run. It talks to the hardware via the drivers that are included in the kernel or are installed later in the form of modules. This way, when an application wants to do something, it can submit a request to the kernel and the kernel will use the available system resources to actually complete the task. 4. System calls and security. It receives requests for service from the processes. How to check your Linux kernel version. The kernel remains under active development, so new Linux versions come out all the time. You can check which release is on your machine using this command. It works across any version of Linux. uname-r. I am currently running Linux kernel version 5.3.053 generic, to be updated. Let's break down what this means. 5 refers to the kernel version. 3 refers to the current major version. 0 refers to the current minor version. 53 refers to the bug fixes and patches applied to this release. The last bit will be specific to the distribution you are running. This string indicates that I am running a generic version of Ubuntu 18.04. The best way to update your Linux kernel version is by upgrading to the latest version of your preferred Linux-based operating system.